There's a bunch of like, you can kind of see, let me borrow this for a second here. You see a bunch of like speckly, maybe not, it's hard to see in the image here, but there's a bunch of speckly stuff. Okay, hold on to it with both hands, bud. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a bunch of speckly stuff in here, which I assume is metal flakes. So I'm just gonna wipe this out. We'll get some carburetor or brake cleaner or something to spray it out here.
Yep.
There's a lot of gunk in there, so I'm kind of glad I'm changing this.
Yeah.
And there's also, I'm a little worried about the Permatex, but that's what's on there. See this goop here? We'll clean that off.
Yep, that's the goop.
But I don't want to have that necessarily in my gears, so I'm not sure how to avoid that. But let's take a look at that when we're all done.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get this mostly wiped out with this old towel that I have.
Yeah.
On top of this garbage can. And we'll come back in a second. All right, so then I got this brake clean. Put it over here because we're not. Just want to clean most of that out. I'll give it the once over to get rid of the gasket sealer stuff on there as well.
Yep.
So that's
Hey, Dad, when you put it like this, at the bottom, like the short bottom, it looks like a teeth then.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll call that good for now.
Yeah, for teeth. Like that.
Clean the rest of it up, and then we'll give it some paint.
And teeth.
So this is my new grinder. It's actually, I think it was a Flea Farm purchase. It was one of those deals where the old grinder, I had a nice old Craftsman grinder, and that one went bad. I think that one was a 6-inch. This was, I bought this one from Flea Farm, made in China. Like, I didn't really, think a dual thing should be. Anyway, but that's where everything's made nowadays. What I would recommend anybody who has one of these in their shop, put a wire wheel on it. Now this one, I generally like the ones that have the twisted. These tend to fly out a little better. So far, this one's been pretty good. So what I ended up doing is I took the back side where all the Permatex was on, and I just went across this whole thing, went around the whole. It's nice. It's handy. It sits right there. You can do whatever you got to do. I ended up. This was the light off my old Craftsman. So let me just fire this up here quick. So I wired it into the switch, and it really helps to have a little bit of light right where you're trying to work. So they didn't have any grinders that had that, so I took that off the old one. I don't know if we'll be able to see in there how it. You kind of see where I just kind of drilled a hole in the side there and ran the wires on the inside. This is the thing I have to get figured out here. This is all the Permatex stuff. I gotta get a little deflector or something so it stops getting on the wall, but we'll figure that out. I just moved it here. So anyway, that's the grinder. It works pretty good for taking off the Permatex on the backside. I'm gonna have to get a wire wheel on a grinder to get the rest of the Permatex off the backside of the case. So every once in a while, someone will wonder, why is it dumb schmuck? Well, it's not because you can't figure things out. You figure a lot of things out. But what it is because it's the things that I decide to work on. So, got this cover off my differential here. Got it cleaned up with solvents. And it seems like it's starting to get rusty. So now I'm going to take this, I'll kind of wet sand it, make sure it's smooth. And I've got I'll prime it and then paint it and let that all dry while I go get the sealant that I didn't get because I thought it needed a gasket, which I did buy. Again, all things that prove the dumb part of the dumb schmuck. So just gonna go over this whole thing with this. Is this 400 grit, 600 grit paper, and get it all polished up, and then we can paint it. All right. So now we've got Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. I'm using this as a primer. You kind of give me that thing here once. If you look around, there's a kind of a brown tinge to the whole thing. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but anyway, I wet sanded the whole thing, and now I'm just going to give it the once over. If this spray can works, most of my spray cans are old enough that they don't work. Oh yeah, that's great. It's not really working. Sweet. Yeah, that's perfect. Just a tinge of paint. That's all you need. Is that for real? I've been shaking this for like 20 minutes. Alright, we're going to try it one more time here. Yeah, nothing. I'll have to get another can of that when I'm in town. Not even trying to cooperate with me here. Usually if you spray it up right, you're doing all right, but oh, we got something going there. It's just a primer, so if I just get it on there, I'll be happy. Up and down shaking seems to be the trick.
What's wrong with teeth?
I was getting some ideas of what I should paint on here. Make this a fancier cover, but maybe like a dumb schmuck. Found the best part of this channel. Right now, we're gonna watch paint dry. See how glossy that is there? We got it above the heater. So we're gonna watch it dry. More exciting than anything else that's been on this channel for the last year. Oop, just get out of the sunlight here again. I'm always in the sunlight. Must have got a little thick in that corner. This is nice and dry, look at that. So the heat pretty much is unbearable at this point. I mean, unless you're Superman like I am. Super schmuck. So hot. Even the phone's getting hot. And just got back from the parts store. What I had originally bought for this project was this nice gasket. fel-pro. This in the light here. Ford truck, blah, blah, blah. Hecho en Estados Unidos. Anyway, but after looking at a few things on the web, sounds like this is, and actually after pulling the differential cover off, this, all that was on there was there was no gasket on there. It was just gasket maker. And then I'll put a link into the guy, or at least put the address in there of the guy I was looking at. This is the stuff he used, and it's gear oil specialized formula. Resist friction modifiers. Well, I also bought the friction modifier stuff that I don't need, because this has an electric locking differential. But this is Permatex, which we all know from seeing my other Model T videos. That's my favorite flavor. So anyway, seemed like a no-brainer. I'll put this on. Going through the instructions, it says to clean and dry everything, cut nozzle, blah, blah, blah. But then it says assemble parts immediately, finger tighten bolts until material starts to squeeze out, and then you wait 1 hour before you tighten it to torque spec. So I'm going to probably do that. And I'll show you guys what I was doing. I painted up the cover because it was getting kind of starting. Here's the cover. So let me show you that. It's got a little bit of orange peel in it, but it's just a differential cover, so I'm not overly worried about it. Inside still looks fairly clean. So put this back up on the drying rack. It's kind of tacky yet. I may have put 7 or 8 coats too many on there. So let me just fire this thing up, see if I can get this to dry off a little bit more. Let's look down in here. Oh yeah, look at that. And I'll take my towels and kind of pack the rest of this in there. Obviously these are old towels. I want to put new towels in there, that'd be crazy. But you want to get enough in there around everywhere so that you don't end up with little chunks of this stuff getting in there, because you don't want, it's not really as good as oil on your gears, so. Alright, so just kind of packing this in there. I think that should keep most of the big chunks out. Alright, so we'll see how well this thing works. This is just a wire brush on the end of my drill. If you have a Dremel, it probably would do the same thing, I'm not sure. Well, we all saw that coming. Come on, really? There we go. This one here, I want to try to go the other direction so that it blows it away from the inside. Oh, and that's how things happen. All right, get that off there. Maybe the flap could be a better idea. Okay, let's jam this back in here. Maybe go a little bit up there. All right, let's try this again. So we'll have to go that way. Oh, there it goes again. Maybe we'll just leave that off for a little bit. Yeah, what do you think? I think we'll leave that off. I'm really thinking not taking off the spare tire here. Probably would have given me some more room for what I'm doing now. There we go. More of the towel. Oh, that Fortec Makulu guy made this look a lot easier. All right, let me go maybe upside down. Let's see what we can get in here with this. This maybe? Really don't want to get up in there. I may have to do that by hand with some sort of non-power device. That's what I should be able to get in. That's the wrong way. Okay. Maybe get up in here, up in here, up in here. Oh, that's not good. Oh, the phone. The phone. Let's bring it back up. All right. Okay. Whew. Saved you guys. Saved you guys. Okay, let's get this out of the way here. You guys are just really in my way. You know what? Okay, we got it here. All right, right there. Try that. All right, back in. Okay, I think we're getting close. Actually, I should see if you guys are still, Oh yeah, we're still recording. Whew, thank God. Thought maybe I had bumped you guys when I smacked you off the tripod. Alright, so let's see if we got most of it. There's a little bit of... whatever that sealant stuff is, hopefully it's from Permatex. I think they're going to sponsor me one of these next videos. Alright, so probably get all that. Let's see, that's... I'll take some brake clean on a towel. See if I can get the rest of this cleared off. There's a few areas where I couldn't quite get the... Unless I could get it in there, but... I'm hoping the brake clean, and I should probably have a glove on. I won't though. Let's see if we got here. Well, that does a pretty good job actually taking off whatever sealant is left. You can't get off with the, it's not perfect, but it's a good job of cleaning up all the grease and stuff too. I'm thinking you have to probably clean this whole surface off with something like this to keep the seal it, or allow the sealant to do its job. You know this must be an important procedure. I'm using a new towel. Well, a new old towel. Probably kept most of the stuff out of there. The other thing he did was he blew out these holes, which probably is not a bad idea. He grabbed my air. All right, everybody, close your eyes. Probably give her the once over with some toweling again. But I've whacked you guys out of the way one more time. So the directions say, so I cut the end of this off. It says 1/8 to 1/4 inch bead around all the bolt holes. So I'm gonna probably start up here so I can figure it out before I get to the bottom where I think the oil is probably gonna leak out. Okay, we're getting in the tube now. Let's hope that. Oh man, it takes a little bit to squeeze out of this thing. Maybe I should get a bigger hole. Bigger. Maybe easier to do it on the cover, probably. Yeah, maybe we'll do it on the cover. That would be a smarter idea. So if you remember earlier about the little talk about why dumb schmuck. So I felt the need to paint this thing because it was rusty. So anyway, I painted it, primed it, painted it. But now, even though I painted it before I went to the parts store to get the sealant, it's not dry yet. So that's why I was trying to put it on the differential before I put it on this cover. But anyway, so now I just put some bolts in here to make a little stand so I can let it dry while I'm still putting this stuff on. So I think I may still have to cut a little wider section in this tube. Here goes nothing. See if I can get any of the stuff to squeeze out of here. Yeah, they said 1/8 inch to 1/4. I think I'm definitely going to go to the 1/4 size. So that's not quite a 1/4 inch, but maybe that'll be able to squeeze it out of here. I don't know if this stuff is just old. I just bought it this morning. There we go. Oh, now we're getting a good. Okay, now we're getting a good glue out. So I'm gonna try to go around the holes. Any spot where there's not a straight line. That's a pretty good 1/8 inch. Probably a little thin up in here. It's gonna be all over the place. I know. There, a little bit more there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one there. A little more here. So here's another thing you can do if you have one of these bench grinders with a wire disc in it. I'm going to take the bolts that were in there and wire wheel the threads. Some more of that Permatex down in there. I guess I don't know what Ford uses from the factory, but I don't know that it'll really hurt anything if it's in there. I just want to make sure the threads are cleared off. And there's some serrations under the head. Keeps them from backing out. And in my normal fashion of following all the directions, since the oil plug is like somewhere up in here, I'm just going to put a little bit extra around these areas. I just don't want to have to deal with a leak in this thing. That's going to be probably more than enough because it said only do one side. So I'll find out shortly why the instructions say only do one side. All right, now the fun part of this is going to be the fact that I do have, I'll say, somewhat tacky paint on this thing. It's not really wet, but let's not think it's dry either. Okay, we got a bunch of marks on it now, which is fine. Whatever, who cares? Put one of these on the bottom here. You don't want to mush it around, the actual Ford mechanic guy said. So I got stuff all over my fingers. So you get a halfway clean towel here. So it's not too bad. I just messed it up even worse. Don't even touch it after you get that on there. All right, so that there. Now I'll just kind of work my way around. I did pre-apply a little bit of anti-seize to these threads. Looks like some of these holes are going to have sealant in them too. Just whack you guys out of the way again like usual. There we go. I got you on your own creeper. You guys should really appreciate that. I shouldn't have probably pushed that in like that, but what they want you to do is they want you to put it hand tight and then let it sit for an hour and then torque it. A 1/2 inch wrench, and they said to do like a crisscross pattern, or there's no like actual torque sequence per se. I guess it's starting to ooze out there. All sorts of oozing out everywhere. Down here. Oop, where are you guys going? It's over here. Come on, pay attention. He also said not to wipe off. Don't be tempted to wipe off the excess. So I would say that's what I would call hand tight. We have a good. Almost getting harder to see with the shiny blackness. So I've got. Whack the phone against the truck. All sorts of goop oozing out. Like I said, I'm kind of hoping. Well, I don't know if hope helps me at all, but I'm hoping that I don't have as much of that on the inside, or if it is, it stays with the cover. So it should be. There's like a radius down there. I'm hoping it kind of bubbles in there. So now we'll let it sit for an hour, and we come back. We can final torque them. So the other thing I was going to do is that Ford Tech Maculuco, I don't know how you pronounce it, said this plug is going to have metal filings on it. You can see that. I agree. It's magnetic apparently. Oh, there's a lot on there. Look at that. It's like concave now. Wow. That was a lot of metal filings. So probably a good idea to change this. I like he said 30,000. This is 50,000 on this one. And like I said, I normally don't change this kind of thing very often. But this truck is expensive and I wanted it to last a while. So, that is a lot of metal filings from that rear end. And I pull a trailer periodically. Don't really haul a whole heck of a lot. It's more of a daily driver. So, interesting. Well, we'll get her cleaned up, put it back together. I waited the hour and did the first torque at 20 foot-pounds. 35 seems really high to me, but I guess that is kind of what everything says it's supposed to be, so give it a shot here. This is 35. Oh boy. Watch me twist this off. That'll make me for a happy camper. Oh, okay, that was good. Okay, we got that one. Now what I did was, before I did any of this, I took my finger and kind of did like the bathroom caulk, and I pushed it. That Ford Mac Culo, whatever guy said not to wipe it off, but I pushed it in, and you can see when I did the first torque, it kind of squeezed it back out. So it's kind of like a little bead coming off there now. Okay, 35 doesn't seem too bad now that I'm doing it. I think I've gotten most of them. Another guy's working in the corner over there. It's rough when you're in a shared shop here. Other guy's making noise. That one I didn't have. So that should be all of them. I'm going to go back around one more time just to make sure. Did them all at 20. This is 35. That feels really good and tight. I'm going to let it go till tomorrow. It says the instructions say to wait 24 hours before putting the oil back in. So I got time. I'm guessing if you're doing this and you don't have another vehicle, an hour is probably going to be enough to get a skin on that stuff. Alright, that's all on. So now I'm going to put these clips on permanent like. Push them back on. Seems like those are pretty good. Alright, everything's on. Tighten down. Got the plug out of the other side, cleaned it off. So now we'll just wait until everything seals up 24 hours later and pump the oil back in.